Atlanta. I'm from Pennsylvania. Man, I'm actually a little nervous being down here for the first time, but I do love the intimate environment, and it's kind of soothing. I want to tell y'all a little story. It's a little different, but just follow along with me. So the name of this piece is called "The Promise of Hope." The Promise of Hope. Can y'all hear me? Or do I need a microphone? Can y'all hear me? I'm gonna use it without it. So this is called "Promise of Hope." They called them the hounds, boy. They called them the hounds. They always find a way to track you down. As demons surround him, what would seem like fire and brimstone is really the bitter cold. You can tell by the way their eyes pierce his soul, like attacking daggers tracking the smell of blood and sweat in the air. They want to keep him here. This is never about good or bad, right or wrong. They'll never keep him here. As he races through the woods, leaving his sister behind. I'll get help and come back. The arrangement they silently agreed upon. Don't forget about me. The last words he heard. It's been 3 years. A promise still left to keep. I'm coming back for you. A promise that haunts his sleep. Does the thought of rescue still give her hope? Or has time made her soul cold? Has my absence left her bitter? I'm coming back for you. It's been 3 years. I never lied to you. I haven't thought about anything but our memories. See, our father died, and she didn't shed a single tear. We were in the basement, shining through a single glare. She said, I can't take this. Tomorrow, we make a break for it. See, we were in the basement for far too long. We saw life go by through each and every bar, so I give you truth with each and every bar. Between the history of yesterday, the mystery that's on its way consciously, I want to guide you to where we're meant to be. I want to paint you a picture of my perfect peace, but this portrait is poorly put together. Speaking of together, speak of unity. Speak of truth. Speak of humanity. Father, where were you in our time of need? He said, I'm here. I'm there. I'm everywhere. In the trees, in the leaves, the raindrops, the concrete, the air you breathe. Just hold on to me, because things are going to get a little shaky. A rocky road meant for the strongest of souls, the bold and the beautiful. And I hear her cry out to me. I'll hold on to you forever. Never letting go of that promise you made to me, made to keep. I hear your footsteps. They help me sleep. I see your struggle. Just know I love you. And I'll never let you go. All for a chance to make us whole. The memories I cherish like gold. I'll battle the cold, the wilderness, the will in us will bring us home. She said, I can't stop shaking, but I'll never stop praying. See, our father died. And the last words I heard him saying, don't worry, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, I'm there, in the leaves, in the trees, the raindrops, the air you breathe, just hold on to me. And I haven't let go since. Holding on to the hope of one day finding that peace my brother painted for me so vividly. I won't shed a single tear, not until he gets here. I have to conserve my energy, keep the enemy strong, because the enemy would love to see me weak. See, after our father died, things got a little shaky. My brother looked at me, said, promise me you'll never let them break you. Promise me they'll never break you. Promise me. I promise they'll never break me. And somewhere in the midst of this illusion we call freedom, this confusion that is corruption, we decided to stand up again. I looked him in the eyes. I said, I can't take this. Tomorrow, we make a break for it. I couldn't imagine the thought passing through that mind of his. He didn't say anything. He didn't move. He didn't blink. I didn't stutter. I didn't think about the tragedy we were on the path to see. See, we were in the basement for far too long. We had no idea what was outside past those walls, and then nightfall came. And so did the rain. First obstacle, make it past these basement bars. Next, exit the premise to escape this, and I'll never forget that moment of silence right before the alarm sounds. And then they released the hounds. Howl! Huff! Huff! Howl! We crashed through branches, jumped over tree trunks, ran through the mud just to stumble upon a graveyard. An open field of death and despair. They buried the other slaves here. They buried my father here. Somewhere. But without hesitation, we sprinted towards our salvation. And that's when I felt it. The bite from the head hound. We called them death dogs. My leg tightly gripped between his jaws. My brother turns with rage and rampage in his eyes, pries his mouth open and proceeds to choke him. And now, there's blood and sweat everywhere. I yell out, I'm not gonna make it. He turned, you remember that promise you made to me? Made to keep? He grabbed me by the arm, threw me over his shoulder. He was such a soldier. He wouldn't let anything happen to me. And then we ran into a creek, too deep to swim in my current condition. He said, we're gonna climb this tree and swing across this creek. And we climbed, and well, he climbed and carried me. But when we reached the peak, I looked him in the eyes. You remember that promise I made to you? Well, you're going to have to make one for me too. Don't forget about me. Don't forget me. And I stayed and I prayed. I said, Father, I saw you in our time of need. You were everywhere. In the trees, in the leaves, in the raindrops, the concrete, the air we breathe. And I'll never let them break me. Because he'll never give up hope. Thank you. That piece right there, it's just about holding on to faith, holding on to hope. I remember we were talking earlier about people getting caught up. It's all right to get caught up, you know what I mean? That's a part of life. But as long as we keep our faith and we keep our footsteps going step by step, you always know that he has you. He has you in his hands and in his hearts. This next piece, I've got one more. Anybody voting here? Do we still vote? Are we still doing that? Man, y'all believe in Trump? Nah? Cool. Well, this one is called Message to the Elected. This is the first time I'm actually performing this one, so, you know what I'm saying? Bear with me. Matter of fact, I got you. I got this. All right. Yo, hello? Hello? Excuse me? Yeah, how you doing? It's the people at your front door. Yeah, we got some issues, and it's answers that we're looking for. Now, I realize you live here on the high rise in the penthouse suite, and I couldn't help but notice your apartment is about the size of my street. But never mind that. That's not what I came to mention. I just wanted to bring to your attention the state the educational system was in. Now, there's government funding, you know, money for the war, but not enough to educate the poor. We see the lies in your rhetoric in politics, and we're no longer listening. But we hear your footsteps in the distance. Hello? Yeah, I think this would be a better conversation had face to face. We wanted to know if you ever looked into those kids' eyes, you know, after you filled their heads up with lies. Did you see how confused they were when you told them about the Easter bunny? Or what about that jolly old white man who sneaks into your house at night? And why do we teach our black children the history started with slavery and segregation? Don't worry, I'll wait. But these people are starting to lose their patience. I'm sure you thought this deception was so innocent, but did you connect the dots to the destruction it brings? I guess it was our responsibility. I mean, our consent is our power. But you really left us no choice when you charged us to live and paid us $12 an hour. And hello? Yeah, there's a lot of people out here, and I think you should address them. They're getting a little impatient and starting to get aggressive. They asked me to come over here and give you the message, but I must admit they're getting a little restless. I would hate for things to get out of hand and for them to get aggressive. But they wanted to know why they're forced to pay taxes and they have little impact on what actually happens. And what about the distractions and main attractions? That's a personal question, but one that's worth asking. I'm sure they would love to see your reaction. Hello? Hello? They wanted me to tell you this isn't just a black thing. It's more like prophecy. You had to foresee this happening. They're starting to get angry and now they're starting to blame me. I'm going to try to keep them at ease, but they want to know why injustice is systematically built into your policy, and this may or may not be any of my business, but when did we sign up to live in a corporate system? More like a corporation than a nation, not really a community, hell, barely a society, and you charge us to live with the false currency that's backed by nothing but a promise of things. Now, don't take this personally, because I love freedom and liberty. But that's not really freedom and liberty. And hold on. They said, whatever happened to true democracy? You said every life was represented equally, but lately they feel like they've been forced to fend for themselves, or your advertisements promised them heaven, but delivered them hell. They're no longer willing to consent to a system that destroys them from within. Chill. Look, I want them to maintain their discipline, but they're no longer listening to my better judgment. I think you should open up before they bust in. Maybe then we can have a rational conversation. See, there's injustice everywhere, and it seems you don't really care. Now, from my understanding, we could be living in a lot worse circumstances. But did you think of the ones suffering from your consent to this? They wanted to know why the criminal justice system incriminates black men, women, and children. They say they go off of what they see on television. Don't think we haven't noticed your diversion and exactly what you meant when you said he fit the description, or there was uncircumstantial evidence when we caught you on video cam. That black man on the pavement, I was willing to forgive and forget, but as for this mob behind me, they're not as forgiving. Now, listen, it won't be long now before they move me along out the way so they can have theirs with you. But to be truthful, I knew my efforts would be fruitless. See, voting had become worthless, and a lot of the ones marching towards the door now have lost purpose. But before I vacate the premise, I want you to take a look out the peephole and witness the people. They're no longer waiting for miracles. I think they're willing to take matters into their own hands. I can't hold them back anymore, and they're a little pissed that you never opened the door. But as I fade into the background, I see the crowd gathering round. I believe they're looking for answers, but they'll settle for violence now. Thank you.